lucky for me, I was able to escape down to Florida and leave the snow behind at my house in Jasper. And this weekend was the first run of the season, and Johnny was doing the intermediate. So per his usual, the beginning of the season, it always is about kind of containing him and getting his mind kind of in the dressage ring. And on top of things, he's not really a fan of the Florida Horse Park. He always, no matter what I do, is always a bit tense. So there you can see in my shoulder ends and haunches, and he's just tight. He's really tight in the neck. I'm trying to kind of let him go and come out and go into the contact, but there's kind of a take and give with how much you can let him go without him actually running off, as you can kind of see through our extended trot. So he was fairly good for him, considering when I went around the dressage ring, he was losing his mind a little bit, but I was happy with how he felt when he went in the dressage ring. I could actually ask him to do the movements. And again, that's the shoulder end and the haunches and the other side. And, again, it's kind of going through the movements. We use these events as prep events. So I can get him to relax and come through the movements and just work on little things at a time. It's really about finessing with him, and it's little by little I get him to kind of trust me, and then we're able to build on our movements in each test. But he's just a very funny horse. You can see I give him a pat just to get him to tell him that he's good. He really felt like he wanted to jig, but you can see I kind of alternate my feet left and right, and I make sure that I move a lot. Oftentimes on a tense horse, you want to keep moving. You don't want to keep still, because the movement will help relax them. It takes a while to teach them this, but if you teach them the aid that when you're walking, that they need to walk and you're going to touch them, then oftentimes you don't get that explosion, but it does happen. Again, like this, with this arena, multiple rings, and then you had trailer ends with the trailers and the horses banging on stuff, and Johnny just didn't think that was appropriate. So again, the tension bug kind of gets us a little bit, and I have to kind of keep him a little shorter because he, again, wants to just go. So this was our medium canter down the long side. I asked for some, and he did give it to me without running off. And he's just a little tight in the canter. So we're going into our 3-loop serpentine, which this is a really good test for him to do in the beginning of the season because there's no changes in it. It's the intermediate test, B, I believe. And so it's just really good to have to go through the movements. We're only doing canter walks, which I'm about to cross the diagonal here and do the canter walk transition, which for this movement he kind of gets a little stuck and wants to halt, so I have to kick him forward there and then go into the canter. And again, the tension, you can see he kind of comes up, he's not quite through, he's tight in his neck. It's all these things we have to work on, and here he goes to kind of run off with me and my medium canter. So it's really containing the beast. But overall, he's trying to listen, so you have to reward the effort. With the sensitive horses like this, you can't get frustrated. You just have to take a deep breath and kind of allow and just know and have faith that it's getting better and better. And again, for him, for his first big show kind of coming out in the season, he was better than he has been in the past. So it's kind of, it gives me hope that the next ones will get, even better. So now we're coming to our second canter walk transition, which this side was a little bit better because he didn't stick. He kept walking through. He gave a true canter walk. Again, a little tight. But overall, I was quite pleased with, for him, he was pretty obedient and he went through the motions and we stayed inside the ring. So it was good. And then cross country day. I have to say this horse loves cross country. This makes him happy. I felt like this whole winter all he's wanted to do is run cross country. So I went with the mind frame to kind of practice on a couple technical things. I'm working on being a little quicker after my fences, and kind of quickly I realized I couldn't do that because he was so keen. He's pulling actually a good bit for Johnny. He's not really a pull type, but when he's fresh in the beginning of the season, he's, like I said, he's quite keen. So kind of in the beginning here, and he's just so good. He's so happy, and coming up to this 4 stride and just pings it. So again, you can see, like, after the fence, I just trying to get a little bit quicker on the back side of the fence, and so we're being more efficient, and so we can be faster without having necessarily going speed-wise faster. You're just utilizing your seconds on the backside. And it was great to just kind of use this as a gallop for him and let him kind of coast. Meanwhile, just trying to contain. This was our first water complex, and he popped right in and jumped right out. And you'll see I'll land and kind of go and turn. And here is when I realized that I needed to maybe not practice that on the backside, because again, I wasn't wanting to make time at this event. Again, it's the first event of the season, and it's just about getting their legs to move and kind of getting that first go around. But I definitely don't care about making time, but I just want to, it's all about working on our technique and making sure your horse is keen, and he did that exercise so well. And this was a bending 6 to a corner and just pinged right over it. And so here, the optimum time was about 6 minutes, 17 seconds. And normally after about 3 minutes, he kind of settles in and doesn't pull anymore. But he was just so happy to go and jump the fences. This really is a horse that loves his job, and this is his favorite thing. And it really is a pleasure to ride him around cross country. And it's actually really great to see how much his body has changed, and he has developed a lot more muscling, and his gallop has even gotten more efficient. So you see we're coming up to a big table, so I'm just trying to get his balance on the hind end a little bit so I can catch this off of the gallop stride. And he just pings right over it. And then next we come to the second water, and I have to kind of pull on him a little bit to get him to back off just some, so we're not coming in with too much pace into the water, because we had quite a big table that had a bit of a square face on the front. And he just pings it. He makes everything look so easy when it can be a little bit more difficult. And again, that was a skinny in the water to a bending line to a corner. And he just felt so good. He jumped great, galloped well, recovered really well after cross country. And we actually ended up 4th, but that didn't really matter too much to me. But what mattered the most was that we ended up show jumping clear, and we were ticking all the boxes for preparing for badminton.